Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? It's your boy Devo, so motivational, back with another day trading spy recap. And today, oh man, it's a frustrating but good day. Why is it frustrating? Because I didn't follow my strategy. Why? Because I was watching the press conference with Trump. He was today. So remember, a couple days ago, because I didn't drop a video yesterday. A couple days ago, I said Trump said that he had huge announcements coming this week. Well, today was the huge announcement, and he had a press conference today talking about the trade deal with the U.S. and the U.K. with the rare earth minerals deal. Okay, and then so while we were having that, we actually were going down a little bit, but we were honestly just sweeping these highs, and we were still staying at this support level. I had it red because previously this was resistance, but we were still keeping this as a support level. So I didn't take no trade on the downside. But as soon as Trump started talking about China, we had this massive pump from 562 all the way up to 569. And oh my goodness, man, this is so frustrating because, okay, so during this talk, I'll tell you about the news that he said, but I just want to go over what I was thinking during the market, why I didn't get in at my strategy, at my strategy, at my strategy. I'm saying it over and over because the days where I should be more risk on, I'm more risk off. And the days where I should be more risk off, I'm more risk on. Okay. And that's where it's causing me to lose money. And then on the days where I could be making serious money, I'm not capitalizing on these days. But I am going to start capitalizing. Don't worry, guys. It's frustrating me, and we will capitalize. Okay. So as we know, the market's still open. It is currently 11:30. And so when we started having this pump, I was like, okay, give me a pullback to the top of this, like down move, basically creating this as an area of support, right? So at the top of here, this is basically creating this as an area of support. And then also, what do we have? We have a fair value gap. I was literally saying that as I was getting these moves. I was literally getting that. Then as we had this down, we had this wick, and it was looking good, and I was watching it do this and then break down. But why didn't I hop in? Why did I have second guesses on it? Well, we honestly had everything we needed. We had high volume, but then we honestly had some high volume selling right here, which was kind of like a little iffy. But and then when we started running up, you see this volume lowering down, which was a little iffy. But also why it was still a good trade, but why I didn't take it was because Trump was still talking, and I know like if he said anything bad, the market was just gonna tank again. And so that's why I was more risk off, because if he said anything bad about China, it would have just dumped down. But if he said anything good, which we did get, it would be a pump up. And then it followed the strategy. So that's why I was more risk off on a day where I probably should have been a little risk on. Seeing this pump and then him talking about China and stuff, I probably should have been a little risk on, right? Which is a little annoying. Not a little annoying, very annoying. But the market's open again tomorrow. It's going to be open next week. And it's not like there's not money to be made every single day, right? So it's like you're frustrated. You didn't get the move, but there's going to be more moves like this, okay? So it came down, used this as support, as we see right here. Fair value gap in my 5 minute, because I was in my 5 minute the whole time. I scaled down to my 1 minute. And then I also seen that we touched right here, which is no fair value gap in the 1 minute, but the 5 minute, which is more important. Why? Because this is a bigger time frame. So 5 minute support and fair value gap, which you got in. I scaled down to my 1 minute. I seen the little struggle. And then we had this huge bounce, huge pop through this 567 level. And we hit all the way up to 569. Didn't reach that 570 level, which I thought we were going to reach, is why I got in at a trade right around here. I know you're saying, Devin, so late up. Why didn't you get in right here? Just explained it. Annoying to me. Didn't follow the strategy, which is my strategy, is why I'm so confident, because I've been getting, I got a couple comments. Shout out to the dude that was commenting on my video, like, dude, just switch to futures. And I'm saying, yeah, like I might want to go to futures a little bit in the future, but I know I can profit off of these stock options. I know it. You know, I understand the delta, I understand the Greeks, the thetas, I understand all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But why I do have thoughts about switching to futures, because you can see the actual full move. You can see like through the gaps overnight. You can see like the moves. You can see the liquidity hunts and everything in the futures. Where in options, you're a little more like skeptical, like, okay, is it going down? Is it just trying to fill this gap, or is it actually want to continue down? You know what I'm saying? And so that is why I have the thoughts of going to futures. But at the same time, right now, I know I can profit off the stocks because every time I see it play out and I watch the market, I go over the market, and I've made big money doing this. Just recently, how the market has cooled off and been very choppy is where I've been forcing a little bit of trades and losing a lot. You know what I'm saying? But I am gonna start winning. I'm gonna start picking it up. I just gotta trust my strategy again and not be immobilized by fear. Okay. And so yes, we use this as support. Fair value gap pumped up. Okay. And where did I get at a trade? I got in a trade right around right here, and I wanted it to hit this 570 level and potentially kind of break up a little bit more. But we were gonna actually need to get this pump up to 575 through this 570. I think we're gonna actually need to have a trade deal with China, okay? Because I think right now, excuse me, my good people, if we look, we've pumped a lot. We've came a long way from these lows where we have, if we pull up our ruler, our percentage ruler, we've pumped up 18%, okay? So now we're only down 7% from all-time highs now. That is crazy to think how we had this massive dump and now we're running up. But this run up isn't just so much just a straight shoot up. It's a very like choppy run up. So it's kind of very tricky to trade the choppiness. But on the down, because remember, the market takes the elevator down and the stairs up. So on the down move, that's where we could have really been profiting. Why didn't I profit on these down moves so heavy was because I felt like I was trend chasing. I didn't want to trend chase because it was kind of like just dropping, dropping, dropping. It wasn't really like giving us pullbacks to the fair value gaps, which I was going over like in my long like 3, 4, 5 weeks ago videos. Like I didn't want to trend chase and just like hop in because it was like not really like my strategy. Just like it's no strategy to just hop in when you see a bunch of red candles dropping, and it wasn't really giving pullbacks into the fair value gaps and like support and resistance levels. It was just straight tanking, right? Because we had the tariff, which was just shocked the market, right? So that's why I didn't really profit on the down moves. But I did expect, okay, why do I have these? Because these were like the gaps areas. I said that we could see the pullback too. Let me just delete these because you can always mark these down later time. And so as we see, we're already so far up. This is a heavy resistance right here because this is where it's under. You see how we had this support right here at our all-time highs. And when it broke through that support, we used that as resistance. So this is kind of like a heavy resistance right here. So in order to like pump up to there, we're going to need, I feel like we're going to need actual trade workout, I mean, the actual deal worked out with China to actually get to that 575 level. But I did think today, just off of like trend chasing and FOMO with a bunch of retail traders like me and, us as well, I thought we were going to get a little pump up over that 570. But as we can see, we already pumped so hard. We broke the 565 level. Then we broke through that 567 and we got close to that 570 level, which was at the 569 level. So where did I get in the trade at? I missed this one. I was mad. I missed the train, right? Frustrated. Not mad, but just frustrated, right? Because it's like, again, on the days where I should be more risk on, I'm more risk off. Why? Because I was watching the whole press conference, and again, I didn't want no bad news to come and just wipe me out. And you paid for it, because trading is risky, right? You're taking a risk every time you hop in a trade, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sitting here saying I didn't want to take the risk. I didn't want to take the risk. Well, I took the risk anyways up here. You know what I'm saying? You're taking a risk anytime you're trading. Take the risk that follows your strategy. You know what I'm saying? Because that is your edge. The edge gives you a edge over the market. Your strategy is supposed to give you an edge over the market. Take your edge whenever you have it. It's not going to guarantee a 100% win rate, but you're going to be right more times than wrong, and that's why you have your risk management and your 2-to-1 ratios, your win ratios, so you can make sure whenever you lose less than whenever you win. So whenever you win, you get 2 times your money, or you get 3 times your money, or so on, so on. Today we could have had, oh man. So if I would have followed my strategy, got in at this fair value gap, let's come back to my 5-minute real quick. If I would have put this at the bottom of my fair value gap, got in around my wick area, and had my take profits at to this 567 level, that is a 2 to 5 to 1 ratio. And then if I would have just held it, because obviously I would have held it, right? Once I seen it break it through, is there's no signs of it stopping in my 1 minute, right? So I would have held it to I got to that top and I started seeing it wick down. I would have got out when I see that wick down. So that would have been about 4 times my money. Think about that. If I had a $200 option, four times my money, I would be up $800 just off of one option. You see what I'm saying? So it's frustrating, but you know what I'm saying. The market's open tomorrow. The market's gonna be open next week. But these moves you have to capitalize on. And I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to you guys, of course, but I'm talking to myself. Like I have to capitalize on these moves. I have to. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm watching the market. I'm watching the news. I'm watching the Trump's press conference. I'm waiting for everything to happen. I'm waiting for my fair value gap. Everything plays out, and I still don't execute. Why? Because I'm immobilized. I've been immobilized, okay? What does immobilized mean? Whenever you've been losing, and so whenever you have your perfect setup, you can't take the trade because you're immobilized by the fear, right? You get immobilized by the fear of losing, but that's why you got to get into your mind, okay, losses are going to happen. You got to be able to take those losses on the chin because you know more times than not, again, that your strategy is going to create profits, okay? So we had this big pump up. I think I got in right around here. We had this pump up. I was waiting for, I know it was heavy up the trend, so it was kind of like a trend chase. At the end of my fair value gap is where I had my stop loss, and I wanted my target to be right here. So it was still a 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1, right? Because I got in right around here. And actually, honestly, whenever we were pumping up right here, I was trying to get in, but the market wasn't filling my orders because it was pumping so fast. So I put in 3 contracts. It didn't fill. I canceled it. We broke up to this 567. I seen this solid candle still holding up. I tried to get in right there. It didn't fill. And then when we got up here, it came back down, and when it gave this wick right here down, I got in. It filled my order, but it was slowly moving up. And this is where I was like, all right, I'm already way too late up to move because it didn't fill my orders right around here. It didn't fill my orders right around here. That's not the market's fault. I'm not blaming the broker or anything because I should have got in at my strategy because right here, the market, it's moving. So it's hard to fill those orders because in real time, the market's moving. So the option price is going up and up and up. You see what I'm saying? So when I'm trying to buy it at $130 per contract, it's moving up. It's moving up. So as I'm putting in the order, it's moving up. So my ask price is not getting filled. You see what I'm saying? And so I can't blame the broker. I can't blame the market. I blame it on myself because I should have gotten in at my strategy, okay? But I got in right around here. It broke up, and it was struggling. And, you know, I felt like if it wanted to keep on going, it was going to, like, pump back up. So I gave it a little bit of time, but it was just playing too much, and I didn't want it to flush back down, right? So I only profited $20. I know. So $20. No, $18 actually. I know. But it's a little embarrassing. Devin, you made $18? Yes, I made $18. You know what I'm saying? And it's embarrassing to tell you that I only made $18 because you're like, dude, really? You bought 3 contracts, you risked like, I bought 3 contracts for 400 and something bucks, but I didn't risk 400 bucks. I didn't risk 400 bucks. Why? Because you have your stop loss and you have your dollar amount where you're comfortable of losing. So I wasn't gonna lose 400 bucks. I was willing to lose about $50. You know what I'm saying? Once I seen like minus 50, I would have cut it. But I was trying to go for the 2 to 1. But I was so late up to move. I should have followed my strategy again. I keep repeating it because I want to get into you guys. Follow your strategy no matter what. And I got to keep reiterating it to myself because apparently I can't learn, okay? Because I keep going to you guys. I go to you guys and tell you, I didn't follow my strategy. And look, profits produced. But also, it reiterates to me, but it also shows you guys how it's going to pull into the fair value gap. You just got to be patient. It's going to pull into the fair value gap, and it's going to take off. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm showing you guys, even though I don't fully capitalize off the move, because it's reiterating to myself and it's reiterating to you guys that what I'm teaching about these order blocks, fair value gaps, these sweeps, these ranges, these supports, these resistance, these things work. We just have to follow the strategy because it's not going to guarantee 100% win rate, but it's going to guarantee more profits than loss, okay? So up here, profited $18. I had an $18 winner and I had a $96 loss. So I'm down $60 on the week, but tomorrow we are going to make that back minus $60 is nothing. Okay, if I would have got in right here, or if I would have even got in right here, $60 is nothing to make in the market. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're saying, Devin, you only made $18 and $18. What do you mean $60 is nothing? It's nothing. $60 is literally like a 50-cent move. You know what I'm saying? Off of 3 contracts, like $60 is like easy to make. You know what I'm saying? In the market, that is nothing. Just, but just as easy it is to make money in the market, is just as easy it is to lose. But that's why you have a strategy. Again, okay, I'm not gonna keep reiterating that because I know you're probably tired of hearing me say that. Okay, so let me just go into what Trump said during the press conference. Okay, so President Trump announced the U.S. and the Ukraine deal, rare earth mineral deal. President Donald Trump announced a trade agreement with the United Kingdom on Thursday, noting that it will be the first of many. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke via phone during Trump's announcement. So he was on the phone talking about it in the White House. So they had the phone on speaker, so he was just speaking through the phone, and we could hear everything. Okay. Because remember, I watched the whole thing, but I'm not gonna just pull the whole thing up so you guys can hear. You know, I pulled up articles so it can just kind of briefly go over the things that were important in it. Okay. And then it says few details were announced on that the terms of the agreements would include the White House fact sheet stated a 10% tariff on UK imports will remain in place, but cars from there will be taxed at a reduced rate. Excuse me, my good people. For weeks, Trump officials have said they are talking to more than a dozen countries and are nearing a deal. Trump's administration had previously suggested it is in active negotiations with India, the UK, South Korea, and Japan. So that was good news for the market. Okay. But what actually created this huge move? So right here, we were getting talks about those deals coming in place during this drop down and everything. Right here, we were getting those talks. But once he started talking about China and possible deals with China getting worked out, boom, market boomed, and we had Bitcoin hit over 100K. Okay, since for the first time since February, which is pretty big. Okay, and so do I have any Bitcoin? Right now, I don't have Bitcoin. I did have Bitcoin previously, but I sold Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin. I sold Bitcoin. I bought Bitcoin. I sold Bitcoin for little profits here and there. So I was kind of swing trading it. But I ended up selling my Bitcoin, and I didn't have any Bitcoin because I wanted more money to trade the market, and then I was expecting to buy more. Why didn't I? Well, because I wasn't getting the profits from the trading that I was expecting to get. Okay, so it's just been a little bit of process. But what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for the pullback in Bitcoin. Why? Because okay, I might miss this run, but Bitcoin's not gonna run forever. We know Bitcoin runs in 4-year cycles, so that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting on crypto winter, and that's what I'm gonna load up on Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin is gonna be the future. Bitcoin is the future. Okay, we're seeing more and more banks centralizing Bitcoin, more and more countries accepting Bitcoin. We're seeing more and more big money start to pour into Bitcoin. So in the crypto winter, I don't think we're going to get a 50 I don't think we're going to get a 50, 60, 70% back drop down from Bitcoin. And let me know, guys, if you guys want to hear more about crypto, because I would pull up the chart, but I'm not sure if you guys really want to know more about crypto. I might actually pull up the chart in a bit, okay? But I don't think we're going to get a 50, 60, 70% drop like we previously had in crypto winners. We might get like probably around the 70, 60. I don't even know. That's kind of pushing it. Because as we see, when Bitcoin dropped to 70, it shot right back up. You know what I'm saying? So Bitcoin is in very big demand now, more now than ever before. So I don't know if we're going to get the heavy pullback as like we did in previous years, but at the same time, Bitcoin has a huge upside. I see it hitting 500,000, 250,000 in the next cycle, the next 4 years. It's going to shoot up through the moon. You know what I'm saying? And so I want to wait. I'm just going to wait for crypto winter because right now it's kind of trend chasing because it's getting towards the end of that 4-year run. Yes, we might shoot it to about 115, probably 130. That's a little pushing it. I know some people think it's just going to go to 250,000 this cycle. It isn't. I'm just letting you know it isn't going to shoot up that much during this cycle because we're already so late during the cycle. But during crypto winter, that's when I'm going to start loading up on Bitcoin. And then in that next 4-year run, that's when we're going to enjoy those profits. And in the next 4 years, we're going to be so far ahead of where we are right now, guys. Just trust me, stick with it, and believe it, okay? Real quick, let me check. Okay, we are recording. I just want to make sure. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so Yes, I had these little profits, but okay. So what actually got this pump right here? So right here, Trump out, Trump optimistic about China talks, says tariffs could come down. Trump sounded an optimistic note about U.S. China talks scheduled for this weekend. This weekend, that's what had this pump because it's very excited. This weekend in Switzerland, Trump said he could possibly talk with China's Xi Jinping following weekend conversations in Switzerland. We're going to have a good weekend with China, Trump said. If talks with China go well, Trump suggested the tariffs could come down. We're going to see right now you can't get any higher. It's at 145%, so we know it's coming down, Trump said. Trump alluded to diplomatic gamesmanship over who reached out first. Who made the first call, who didn't, doesn't matter. Trump said only matters what happens in that move, in that room. So the market took that as very good news. And not just the market, that is very good news. That China is honestly what is like the biggest one. If China gets the deal worked out with China, everything else is just gonna be, kind of cake. China getting a deal worked out with China is the cake. Everything else is gonna be like the icing and the little swirls on the cake. Okay, with like Ukraine and India and all of that, because China is the bigger market, right? And so that is very good news to hear, especially for the market. Remember, we were in this whole downturn. Remember, my good people. Oh man. Okay, I can go to the week. It don't matter. I wanted to go to the daily, but the week is good. Okay, yeah, it makes this thing so much bigger. Okay, as we see, we're in this whole downturn. We were in this whole downturn. Oh my goodness, it looks so much deeper. We were in, we were in that huge downturn because of the trade, because of the tariffs and the huge liberation day. Okay, so hearing the tariffs worked out, we were gonna shoot through the moon. Okay, and that's where today, the optimistic and talks. Oh my goodness, keeps picking what I'm not trying to pick. Jesus Christ. Okay, so the optimism about the trade deals being worked out with China, we see shot the price from. I mean, I would say right around 565 up to 569, but shot it up fast, right? But we're not going to completely break out of the woods because we need the deals actually worked out. But we see how fast it can just shoot up um, with the tariffs being worked out. I mean, if we go from 562 all the way to 569, it was literally in like 20 minutes, okay? 20, like 30 minutes. Like 20 minutes was from the 562 to this pullback of 565. But the 565 to 569 literally happened in like 7 minutes, okay? Let's just look at it. 10:30 to 10:40, 10 minutes literally, okay? And so that's how fast. Remember, I've been telling you guys that whenever we get these deals marked out, we're going to start to see huge moves. I'm talking about 10, 15, $7 moves daily up. You know what I'm saying? We're going to start to shoot up, right? Because the only reason we're down is because of the tariffs, and that's actually brought us into like the recession fears and stuff like that, okay? But we could potentially still be in a recession, potentially, okay? But we're not going to talk about that. We'll talk about that later on, okay? But yeah, so the optimism is what shot us up, and we're shooting up right as we speak. Hold up, man. We might actually break through this 570. And I'm just gonna tell you guys, Devin, why aren't you in the trade? Why aren't you in the trade right now? Why don't you hop in right now? Well, I mean, we were just in this range. Maybe no, not even. If we got a pullback, maybe at the wick. You know what I'm saying? If I look and see any good news, wick at this, make this previous resistance, this previous range support. And then if I look on the news and it's saying like more good news, maybe because we could shoot to this 570. But I mean, we're already so far through, you know what I'm saying? This might just kind of be a fake out. Or, you know what I mean? This honestly could just be retail investors shooting through. Because look, I mean, where there's no entry point, you know what I'm saying? This is an entry point right here. This is an entry point at that fair value gap. This shot up through. Right here, we pulled up to this fair value gap. This could be an entry point. I'm not going to lie. This could have been another entry point right here. This fair value gap, 568. But as we see, it created like a range. And now it did break through. You know what I'm saying? So that would have been a good entry point. But right now, just hopping in would be trend chasing, right? You don't want to do that, right? Because why? That is not sustainable, okay? Yeah, you might profit sometimes, but that is not sustainable. Remember, we're trying to be long-term traders, okay? And so, yes, that is that optimism is what led us to pump, okay? Now let's go to Bitcoin because I told you guys I'll show you Bitcoin a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the weekly for the Bitcoin. We are at 101,000. Oh my goodness. We're basically we're near the top. Man. Uh, okay. So 2020, before our next bull run, as we see, we were at 7,000. It's insane. 7,000. Now we're at 100,000. So as we see, through like the start, 2021, through the start of our next 4-year cycle, we pumped up. As we can see, we had this little like bear market. We had a bear market, okay, during the whole market, during crypto, during stock market. We had a bear market through this 2022. That's why we had this. But as you see, we're still at 16,000. Where during the crypto winter, we were at 7,000. You know what I'm saying? So you're still higher than where you would have been at. And so now we see, remember, nothing's a straight line up. But as we see, this is a bull run right here. Okay. Look, 2016, before this bull run, where were we? We were at $500. Remember, every 4 years, there's a new halving. That's what the crypto cycle is called. It's called a new halving. Okay, they release another half of Bitcoin. Remember, there's only 21 million Bitcoin available. That's why it's in such high demand, because it's a currency and there's only 21 million of it. So it's like a very rare. They call it digital gold. Okay, and so as you see, we're at the 500, 600. Whenever we ran up to the, oh man, hold up. So 2012 it came out. Sorry about that. 2016 was the next halving. Yeah, 2016 was the next halving. We hit the peak 2017. That's what it looks like actually. And we dropped down in 2020. We see we're in another bear market. Sorry about that, guys. 2012 to 2016 was actually the run up, but it was so small. I mean, we can't really see it. Okay, and then 2016, we were in the next bull market. 2020 to 2021 started. You see what I'm saying? Sorry about that. It's a little tricky. I haven't really looked at this chart. But every 4 years, we have the crypto winter. You see we hit this top, and we dropped from 20,000 down to 3,000. So that's pretty much like 80%. We pumped up the next bull market, 2020 to 2024, or 2021, my bad, to 2025. And then the next drop, I don't see us coming down to this 40,000 level. We might try to hit a support around the 70,000 level, but we could, right? We could drop more during the next crypto winter, which we're getting close to, okay? So I'm not the most crypto expert, but I just know every 4 years there's a cycle, and we've previously dropped like 50, 60, 70, 80% down, as you can see, during our crypto winners. But this crypto winter, because we have so much what is it called, demand for it, and so much big boys and more countries accepting Bitcoin and having a what is it called a Bitcoin storage. What is it called? Oh my goodness, I can't think of the word, because the US has Bitcoin and a Bitcoin reserve. There we go. Because more and more countries are doing Bitcoin reserves, I don't see it dropping 50, 60, 70% from the highs, right? So we could reach around probably this 120,000, but we will have a crypto winter, and that's when I'll be loading up. Okay, so that's just my little thoughts on crypto. Okay, so SPY, where we at on SPY? We actually did break the 570. What am I, 5 minute? Excuse me, my good people. We didn't break it actually. We're using it as resistance. Using it as resistance right now. We could try to break it, but we could not. Okay, so but I'm not going to get in at this trade. Remember, the market's going to be open tomorrow. Tomorrow we could probably have a little bit of a cool down. We could have a little bit of a cool down, or we could maybe try to have like a little pump through this 570 and maybe try to pump a little bit. But I don't know if we'll hit this 575 level yet. But tomorrow, I mean, because we might break through this 570 level today, later on today, and through today we might break through this 570 level and probably reach up to 571 ish. But tomorrow I maybe can see us having a little bit of a cool down, because we did have such a big run up. We could have a little bit of a cool down, okay? So we're going to be ready for tomorrow. This is a quick morning video. If we have more news coming out later, I will go over it later on. But this might be the video today. But again, if we have more news and more like big news and stuff coming out later on, I will go over it in the video. Remember, I had a little trade right here, 18 bucks, another 18 bucks. So I'm minus 60 bucks on the week, which is nothing. We're gonna make that back tomorrow. Okay, trust and believe, we're gonna make that back tomorrow. 60 bucks is nothing to make through these markets. I didn't follow my strategy. Remember, I followed my strategy up here, but I didn't get in at my strategy down here, which I should have. And this is where I would have had big profits at. And I'm reiterating it to you guys and reiterating it to myself because I want you guys to follow the strategy that you guys have. You guys might not have the same strategy as me, but just remember to follow your strategy because that is your edge through the market, okay? And fair value gaps, order blocks, sweeps, resistance, supports, these things all work, okay? And so thank you guys for listening. Remember, guys, to study so you guys aren't gambling. I love every single one of you guys who are with me. We're up to 52 subscribers now, okay? Look at that. We were at 50, dropped down to 49. Now we're at 52, okay? Let's keep running up. I love every single one of you guys who are with me. Remember, this is a journey. We're getting better and better every single day. We did miss the trade. We made a little bit of profits. We just cut our loss on the week down to 60 bucks, but we're gonna make that back. And this week will be a winning week, okay? A little bit of a slow week, but it will be a winning week. And next week we will be ready, okay? We love the weekends because we get to chill out a little bit, but we love getting to the money. We love getting better. We love looking at these markets, and we love doing what we do, okay? Remember, do what you love, and you won't ever have to work a day in your life, and that's what we were working towards, okay? Love every single one of you guys who are with me, all right? So remember, guys, stay persistent, passionate, and make sure you get paid, all right? Peace.